All right. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnston, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yay! Yay. So the term contemplate their return is occurring to me. It occurred to me earlier today. It's occurring to me right now. I heard it many years ago. I don't remember who I heard it from. But that word just came, or that phrase just came back to me today, because it's like, the question, the question is for people, how do I like hate less? Basically, how do I kind of like reel back this seeming hatred that I have for everyone, right? And it's like, if you can see them, and it's like really just a willingness to, it'll be shown to you, to see them happy, healthy, vibrant, abundant, just like in their in your mind. Because it's like, when you're connected with someone, that's like, if you have interactions, we're all connected, but if you have interactions, then you automatically will be thinking about them, and that's a kind of communication with them, or interaction, you can say. It's like, it's fun to make a difference between communication and interaction, because it could be said that communication is a healing interaction, and then there's just interaction where the mind is blank. So if you think you see sickness, for instance, the mind is blank in that instant. So if you would be willing to see something else, you'll be shown that image, that picture. And there's there's a sense of relief that goes along with that that's actually how they are. They're not saddled with any of those things, that it's kind of like you've agreed with them to make it seem like they're sick, for instance, or mean, or as if they've done something to you, even. Yeah, it's like it's a form of generosity where you're the one who receives the benefit, because you're the one who is allowing the release from that image, at least for your part of it, right? You're interpreting their image that they're trying to project. That's basically, they've got an image that they're trying to project, and then everyone else interprets it. And then that becomes them to that person. And that's that's an illusion. However you perceive a person, any kind of flaws, anything like that, that's not theirs. People think they have things. People talk in terms of my wrinkles, for instance. My mom said it today, my bronchitis, she said. And as soon as I heard that, it's like, that's a red flag for me. But that's just, that's a result of constantly, being aware, being alert to those kinds of things. So, if I have a sense of anything's mine, usually there's a red flag for me right away. Sometimes it's a little bit down the road, but it pops up. It's always easier to see in other people. And that's because there's not this sense of defensiveness of the self, right? So things are always easier to see in other people. And that's why, it doesn't need to be judged. And what really helps with that is, this seeing that if it comes out of them, it's the same as coming out of you. It's not a difference. We're meant to help each other. You've heard that cliche ass saying called we're just holding each other's hands and leading each other home, right?
I'm my brother's keeper.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. So, my mom, from my point of view, seems to get kind of embarrassed, like, oh my God, you're right. This is the same kind of thing I tell people all the time. And look at me. And she starts quoting verses about how, she shouldn't be saying stuff like that, and she said something about judgment and like trying to correct other people when she's the one who needs the correction and stuff like that. All of that is just a matter of looking at it differently. You're just like willing to see it differently. Then it's more like you're not judging those people for having a perception of these things coming out of their mouth. It's just that you would see it differently, and that is the correction. The Holy Spirit takes care of correcting them in their mind. But it's like you're releasing them toward that. You're releasing them toward that moment when the Holy Spirit really gets through to them. And they're like, oh, I don't have to hold that anymore. And I'm always just told when to speak. I like to have really light, relaxing conversations. And then, sometimes I just like to have a little bit of in there too. And the Holy Spirit knows that. So, I have a really fun time relating with people. And sometimes I'll be like a little bit salty and say maybe something that might be what the fuck or something like that. Cause it's like meant to kind of like shock the system. It's meant to kind of like shock the system. It's like, boom. But overall, I like to have really relaxed, comfortable, joyful, happy conversations. And so it's like I'm not like trying to hammer these ideas into people if they're not being what was the word? Receptive. Yeah. If they're not being receptive to it, then it's not really interesting to me at all. Like, I don't feel like I need to help anyone for sure. I just need to forgive. That's all. And then people definitely seem to get helped through me. That's the perception that I get all the time. I receive a lot of gratitude. I get a lot of reflections of gratitude. And that's really, that's really the promise of working in that way. It's kind of like the fruits of it. Of course, people are just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And you're just knowing it's not you like that. It's not like me, like hope or anything like that. It's a testament to how much I can receive from the Holy Spirit. I'm allowing myself to receive, and that I can extend. And when the gratitude is reflected back to me, I feel so much more gratitude too, because I know that this mind is waking up, and that's the greatest joy ever. I mean, that's the greatest thing about going down that path of kind of like almost like in a role of like spiritual teacher. It's weird. It's kind of like a weird calling, it's a trip, because it was like this almost like a pressure on myself to be with people and speak with people like this, like I do with Wisdom Dialogues now 3 times a week. First I tried doing retreats and different stuff like that. But over time with relaxing, because, it's the only reason it's wild or weird or difficult or anything like that is just like the conditioning of the ego. So that's like, I always knew that was the thing that I needed to see through, is the conditioning of the ego, because the ego is always full of self-doubt. That's how the ego operates. It's always like, you're not. And and the people around me were also like that. You're not that. you're not, who qualified you to fucking tell us or something like that, and it's just it's just a matter of, okay, I'm here. I've shared that with you guys before. It's like just saying, okay, I'm here. It's like, just show me, it's like, I'm not going to try to make anything happen. Okay, I'm just here. And then just being in each moment like that as best as we can. I mean, of course, I'm not 100%, because if I was, you wouldn't think you have a perception of me here. In fact, I think, from my point of view, I can get quite delusional at times, where like 10 minutes later, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, or you can say like a couple hours later, I was having this sense when I was away for the weekend, and I was having this sense, like, I just felt like, like physically unattractive. And, and at the same time, it's going like, why does that fucking important to you? It's like, it's kind of like there's just this energy, this mind energy kind of like playing out. And then there's this voice, I wish I thought I was beautiful, and it kind of like hooked me for a minute. It's like, gosh, why haven't I ever thought I was beautiful? And then I like voiced it to Tony, and he goes, wait a second. He goes, that's not true. You've always been very confident. And he's like, that's just a thought. It just really doesn't mean anything. And it's like, just like that, it's like, oh, and it's so much relief to see that. So you see what I mean about how we're just helping each other. And, it's like, my husband, he's like, he becomes my teacher, and that's how it is with everyone around me too. It's like everyone becomes my teacher too. Like we're all just doing this thing. We're influencing each other. We're like traveling in these thought patterns, influencing each other. And whenever we're open up to healing, we're extending that to one another. So it's like, when I get these kinds of opportunities arising in the in the mind like this, where it's like like some pressure. And, I know this occurs for a lot of people, that just these little things, little mind tricks that I share with you guys, where it'll just trick you into some kind of hook. Right. And it's like, it seems like it's personal. It seems like it's like totally about you, because it seems to relate to your life and your weaknesses and the things that you seem to have repeatedly thought about over and over and over again, right? So just noticing it, and noticing, oh, that's totally meaningless, because the ego will like make this your whole life. It's like, oh gosh, I've always been like this, and it like took me a minute. Like when he first said that, I was like, wow, oh yeah, okay. And then stories start coming about that very thing, and so the stories start playing out, and then I'm seeing the stories, oh okay, that's the backing to it, all meaningless. And it's like, it's like these things play before your awareness, and that's when you see them as meaningless, and you just get, oh, such a relief that it's not something that's about you. It's not something that's personal. It's not a habit you have. Even you don't have habits, right? You don't really have habits. You're dreaming a dream of having the habits. And so it's like you're believing it, and that belief, you could say, is a habit, but it's like also nothing has gone before. It's really interesting. So like, when did you exercise the habit? Like, when did you exercise that before? Really? So it's this like it's an immediate, so what I'm talking about here is an immediate out, just completely out of that, whatever it is, but I know, like, for me, it's necessary for me to taste those things, so I can see through the patterns, so I can see through what it is that I'm holding, so that all these memories come up to show me what justifies this idea that I've never thought of myself as beautiful. All these different memories come up. Maybe someone like, told me I was okay, but I need to lose 5 pounds or something like that back when I was a teenager or something. It's always something. Too skinny, too fat, too old, too young, and not being too young, dude. That was a thing. It's hilarious. It's like it never stops. Oh, aloha. Yay, Amy. It never stops, it never slows down, it just keeps on going around and around, and as long as it would be made meaningful. So it's like once it gets cut off, you see that it's not meaningful. As simple as, oh, that's just a thought, it's not meaningful. It's just as simple as that. And then generalize everything. It doesn't matter what it's about. Right? It doesn't matter what it's about. It could be about anything. Just generalize it all. It all goes into the same thing. It's all nonsense. Excuse me. It's all a meaningless thought that you don't need to keep. Right? Any kind of vengeance kind of thoughts. Like, oh, I'm going to leave them a bad review. I'm going to put it in there how they screwed me over. Right? Aloha, Gail. Yay. So allowing the other, as in the brother or the sister or the them, since we're doing that now, that's pretty funny. The theys and thems too. Don't leave anyone out. I kind of like how A Course in Miracles does, it just says he. This is my favorite. This is my favorite because there's like, it's just all he, then there's no separation. And you don't have to come up like, how many of these different things are we going to have? Right? Maybe someone doesn't like being a them. Maybe they want to be another thing, right? Then you got to add all these pronouns in there. You just use he. and it's like I think in the beginning of language, you guys can look this up, but I think in the beginning of language, and even maybe not that long ago, because I know like in the United States, the Declaration of Independence is written like that, right? They were not intending to leave the chicks out. It's just that we were all he's. That's just what it was. Under the law, whenever we're all he. People just start taking that. It's like then there's a separation going. Okay, if they have a womb, then they're a wombed man. Okay, we'll call them a woman, right? So then that happens, and then people go, wait a minute, this says it's men, so it's just a black. No, that's why it's woman, because there's all men. It was just like making a distinguishment between the ones that have wombs, the men who have wombs. So yeah, that's just something that occurs to me from time to time. It makes me laugh just how we took that as a humanity and made it into something that is demeaning, right? It's like demeaning if it's not inclusive of the she. It's like further away from one when we're splitting again. What is another split we can have? What is another split we can have down the road? We make like split between like a certain age, then it's like we start calling a different color person a different fucking like just make it all the ego is all about complication, all about making things complicated, right? It's like you should be offended if they don't put she in there. I don't even correct those foreigners and they call me Mr. They call me Mr. all the time. And my name is Hope and they call me Mr. I don't know. I'm like, that's cool. Maybe that's just how they relate. They talk to everyone, Mr. Or they only think that dudes do business. That's possible too. This is America, bitches. Women do business around here. We're expected to, actually. Keep the front door open, keep the back door open, but don't invite the thoughts in for tea. I like it, Gail. It's really good. It reminds me of a Hawaiian breeze, right? Nice Hawaiian breeze. It's just blowing through. So you got the front door and the back door open, and the breeze just blowing everything. You keep on with the breeze. Keep on having the breeze. Yeah. I notice I tend to go more delusional whenever I'm with my husband. Is it just because I've known him a long time? I think that's like how it is in like relationships where you're super, super close. But it's also really awesome because he can bring me back and knows how to. So that's what I mean by like by holy relationship. So he's not looking at me, God, she's so unconscious or something like that. You know, he just tells me the truth and I can snap out of it. Like that's a common thing to like think that your partner is like, it's always the lack of sophistication is on the partner. Right? They're not doing something right. Ego makes everything complicated. The Holy Spirit's message is never complicated, but it's quieter. Constance just said that. And she said, you said as I typed it. Oh, that's awesome. I was saying it as she was typing it. Gail said her Hawaiian name is Mapuana, which means fragrant breeze. Yay. People can smell me coming and going. Yeah, you're wearing Miracle Botanicals all the time too. Thank you for doing that. So when we're willing to contemplate his return. It's so funny in a world where you got feminists, apparently, you know. It's like just saying like something like that. I've done it in a post before, like triggers the fuck out of people. Because it's like that's like I'm not saying, you know, everyone should share the same restroom. That's not what I'm saying. It's fine if you got one restroom for people with dicks and one for people with vaginas. Do it like that. Persons with vaginas over here. You got a fake vagina? That's fine. You're in the vagina room. Got a fake penis? You're in the penis room. That's how you do it. I'll be running for office soon. In case you like my ideas. Yeah. All right, back to I like to take my time and savor the moment and the laughter. So contemplating his return, right? Anyone who you're perceiving as lacking, less than, even if the lack of love came from you. Let's say you perceive that the lack of love came from you. You weren't loving enough with that person, right? You're getting the sense that you were not loving enough with that person. That also has no effect because this is a memory that's occurring to you. It didn't actually happen, that means. So that actually has no effect. You guys, it's huge relief when you're just willing to see that it just has, because you might be hooked by a thought about, what did I do good enough? Basically, did I do well enough? Was I loving enough? Was I kind enough? Was I aware enough? Was I present enough? Any of those things. The relief that you deserve and that you're after is on the other side of that thought, just like being released from that thought. the more intensity that it comes with, the more relief you're going to sense when you're willing to be released from it. What people do instead, and what you've probably been doing a bunch because it's really, really common, is letting those thoughts, because thoughts are naturally on a cycle. So they're going to come up and they're going to gain intensity, and they're going to peak in intensity, and then they're going to go down in intensity until they end and another one begins. So for the most part, this is not noticed. I even noticed this in myself. Like I'll be unaware in some moments, and then be more aware. And sometimes it'll go in cycles where I'll be like really aware for like days or something, and then less aware for some minutes, hours, whatever. You get on the other side of it and you notice, holy shit, I was unaware right there. Like I was allowing that thought to have its play with me, right? It's like you get these perceptions like this, but look at, they also have no effect on you because they're for learning. They're only for learning. You don't have to hold on to them. Any kind of guilt that you sense about the situation, that's just a sign that you're holding on to something. You need to be released from that. Now, people will bring up to me, what about accountability? That came up a couple of weeks ago. What about people having accountability? So, accountability, to me, the word kind of sounds like accounting, like you added something up, right? Like you added something up and you evaluated it. But it's only in this instant that you can be released from suffering that you're projecting onto yourself. So that's like what you need. That's responsibility, just looking at that and noticing, that's what I need. That's what I expect. Now, when I go into one of these habitual patterned thoughts, notice I don't go, my pattern. I don't own a pattern. Pattern thoughts circulating the mind, not personal. Okay. They're attracted, certain energies of thought are attracted to certain sensory organs, senses of self, the self you're projecting. But that's not personal to you. It's not yours. It's not you. So these patterns are arising, and it's as if you harm them. It's as if they've harmed you. It's as if you were even unloving to yourself. So see, it's interesting too. It's fun because I was just listening to A Course in Miracles real recently, and I heard that about being unloving to yourself and making it meaningful. See? So when the thought occurs, I wish I would see myself as beautiful, that's a meaningless thought. All right. And the sight gets corrected immediately where you're released from the meaningless thought. And with enough willingness to be released from it, you're released from it. A lot of the times that goes missed, people don't see that. Like, I wish I could do it better. I wish I thought about myself better. It's just passing thought. So it doesn't have to be believed. So I had some more fun with my real estate exam today. This weekend, actually, and today I took the test. I took the state test today, but I took the national test on Saturday. Yeah. And it was funny. I walked in there and I thought I was taking 2 tests, national and state, and found out I'm only taking 1. Yeah. And it's a total bureaucracy. It's funny because that time this is my 3rd time going to take the test, right? that time I had a telephone call with them because I got kicked off. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, maybe I didn't even tell you guys here on online. But I got kicked off for maximum violation because I used my calculator that's on my computer. I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to use that particular calculator. So I just got kicked off after only getting to question 30 or something like that. So I called them up and I was like, hey, you guys just kicked me out for using my calculator after you told me I could use my calculator, at least from my point of view. That's what I thought. And the guy scheduled it again. He goes, okay, let me reschedule it. Okay. I didn't even think to ask him if I'm getting both tests, that's what I was there to take that day when I got kicked off. And so I went and I just took that part of it. And yeah, I came out, I gave the guy my score. He's like, whoa, he's like, I'm pretty sure that's the highest score I've ever seen. and I'm like, really, it's not that high. I was an 85%. Like there was 80 questions. I missed 12 of them. I thought that was a lot. But I guess it's like super tricky and people have a hard time passing it. The passing score is 70. The passing score for a broker is 75. This time I definitely was like still feeling a trigger about it. I wasn't like completely, I could tell because I go into like kind of like a little tunnel and I don't judge it. I don't think it's bad or wrong or anything like that. It's fine. I just let it play out. I let it do its play. I'm just watching. I'm in a witnessing kind of chair. Okay, not in a fixing chair. That's for the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit does all the fixing, right? So first, the guy at the test center, really sweet guy. Love the test center. I'm definitely going back there. That is just the best. He's like 13 generation Hawaiian. And so I'm going back there. That was awesome. He calls the test whatever administrators. It's some online thing. They're like international. And he's like, oh man, he's like, I'm going to call him, but I don't know. He's like, it's not real hopeful because they are a huge bureaucracy over there. So he's like calling him. He's like, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, that sucks, But basically, he's listening to them tell him how their bureaucracy is so huge. They can't just let me take the test right now, and I'm sitting right there ready to take it. So he's like, oh man, that sucks, and I just go, oh, it's okay. I know whatever happens, it's because it's meant to be. It's perfect. And he's like, oh, okay. People just get on your vibe a lot of the times. Like, sometimes people want to hold on to negativity so much that they'll like start arguing with me. They'll be like, no, it's not. This fucking sucks. And then I'll just go, okay. It can be that way too. It's really whatever you choose. So then after I take the test, I just forget about all that and take the test. The test is nothing like what I study. There's absolutely not one thing that is anything. Some of them are things I'm like, was that even in the material anywhere? Right? Like I've done all these. It's not like taking the DMV one where you take the test online and then you go in there and they're exactly the same as what you just did online. No, these are not even the same scenarios. And they didn't just go in and change the name. I don't know if I was saying before, I think they use AI because it's like wild and really do a really good job of tricking. So I called afterwards. I just put all that aside, took the test and called afterwards. And then the woman was so fun because she was like, I can't schedule it for you right now. And I'm like, why not? I paid for it, didn't I? And she goes, well, you have to have a release of your score. And I'm like, what score? I didn't take the test yet. And she's like, well, I just know that I can't do anything until I have a release of your score. And then she said to call my school, and I'm like, I just really don't understand what you're telling me. And I could feel her getting really stressed. It's like, okay, let me see if I could say this in a way you can understand it. And as soon as she went there, I just went, it's like, just take a breath, take a relaxation. As soon as I get the perception, it's like, okay, I'm involved in this interaction. And there's a person on the other end, obviously feeling stressed with me. So I just take a release, right? And then kind of like just wrap up the conversation. There's no need to carry it on. So just, okay, get the conversation wrapped up, let her go back to whatever she's doing that might be less stressful than talking to me. I hope. But that's what I mean about contemplating their return too. Like, I don't have any visual of what this person might look like or anything, but I could still sense just a return to release. And that's also, see, that's a true way of being generous, of generosity, because you are actually the recipient of that. And that's also what they're doing for you is asking for that generosity in your name. See? So it's like there's no any kind of generosity that isn't an immediate benefit to you isn't truly generosity. Should be an immediate benefit to you. Things on the surface, money, things, anything like that, those forms of generosity, what we say, those are not really meaningful. Helpful, yes, whenever they occur. Not really meaningful, though. It's the generosity that you would extend in terms of wholeness, abundance, vitality. That's the kind of generosity I'm talking about. And then, you being the first recipient of that, that's how the Holy Spirit can extend it outward to whoever you're interacting with, especially, and to everyone else on a more, secondary kind of way, you might say, but it's not even really like that, because whenever anyone benefits, everyone benefits. There's no way one person can benefit without benefiting the whole. That is not a benefit. A lot of things that we perceive as benefits is not truly a benefit, right? These things that we seem to see on the surface, even passing a test, let's say, seem to be a benefit, or the opposite of that, when it seems like you're getting kicked off the exam. It's just for the play of it, but it's all beneficial. Like, all of it's beneficial because of what it is, and especially because of what it is for. So I was sitting next to my husband when I was on the phone with the testing, whatever, I don't even know what to call it, testing online company. And he was like, why would they, what? And I just repeated 2 times. I said, characteristics of a meaningless world. This is a reminder. Let this be a reminder, because anything that we pursue in the world only leads back to this meaninglessness. It just has no meaning. See? So, I kind of got this sense like my day was going to be fucked up now that this happened, because it's like there's this idea, like, if I'm going over there to take this test, and I got the main part that I really need to take the test, I can pass it. Right? Like I got all the confidence that I'm passing that thing when I go in there and take it, right? Then there's this sense that I'm being stopped from, precluded from taking it, and now I still need to stay up on it so I could take it again. Right? It's kind of like I got this sense like, oh gosh, I can't relax now because I didn't get to do it. Right? And that's the phrase really that brought me back right there, is these are characteristics of a meaningless world. It's just to remind you that whatever it is, real estate or whatever you're going toward, it's meaningless. It's a meaningless thing. So that could just be, so it just allowed that thing to be laid aside so I can enjoy, because now I'm over there in Kona and I got a room over there in Kona and I got my husband on a freaking trip with me, which hasn't been seen since maybe like 2017. So that was fun. He was actually over there in Kona with me, and he wasn't here doing his farm things, which, that's a thing for him. So, just, yeah, that's just characteristics of a meaningless world. That's okay. It doesn't mean anything. That's all that's showing, and there's no way I could do anything about it now. The guy who is running the test center right there, he's perfectly happy to let me take the test if I can get this testing company to give him the okay, because they have to give him the okay, right? So it's just like, okay, it's now, I took the test at like 1, I was done within like 40 minutes. And by the way, the amount of time to take the test is 140 minutes. Is that wild or what? That's a trip, man. I had all kinds of time. It could have taken 100 more minutes. This next one is 90 minutes. I'm thinking I'm gonna be done with it between 20 and 30. So I'm out of there pretty early, is what my point was there. So I'm out of there pretty early. It's early in the day. We're in Kona, and it's like I could either choose to make that a thing that I still have, like it's just really ideas that I still have this thing looming. That's one way of saying it. It's just a way of looking at it. You see that, right? There's nothing there though. Like the seeming events are going to seem to play out in their seeming chronological order. and there's nothing I need to do about it. I don't need to hold it. I don't need to put it, to bring it into my day in any way. So I was able to get nice and relaxed and have a sweet, intimate, relaxing time with my husband and celebrate, right? And I'm going back again. This time I'm bringing my 15-year-old with me and my husband. Yeah, going back tomorrow. I'll be taking it on Wednesday. Be out of there in like 20 minutes, go to the beach. Then come back, Wisdom Dialogues in Seaview. By the way, I'm doing Wisdom Dialogues in Seaview. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm over at Tomas's place in Seaview now. Wednesdays from 3 to 5. It's funny because I feel really eager to get going on real estate. Like I'm just ready to just jump in and go, okay, I'm past my test. Now let's do this training. And then with Miracle Botanicals, I just get like all this inspiration to write for Miracle Botanicals, write blogs, write to my customers, write emails to my customers. Probably going to have an email coming up pretty soon. Also hopejohnson.org. I've been working on that. Just like all these different things. And if I let them, these projects, really fun projects that I like to do, overwhelm me, then it's going to seem like way too much. It's going to seem like it's just like way too much. Plus wisdom dialogues 3 times a week, right? And real estate and miracle botanicals. And there's a book. I don't think I have much more to do for that. It's probably just going to get published. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Website stuff, writing stuff, all kinds of different things like that. And, you know, I've come to find out, apparently, that's the way I'm coded, is to have a bunch of different shit going on. Cause it's like, and always trying something new too. Always need to be some new shit to try out too. Right. So it's like, I don't try to go against the coding. Right. It's like, there's this coding that we gave ourselves. We gave ourselves this kind of coding, this kind of way where certain things that we get inspired towards, certain things that light us up. Right. And it's not like to try to go against those things, because they all lead to death. Like I've said a bunch of times, they lead nowhere. It's meaningless. They go nothing. It's just all nothing. So all the lessons come through all that nothingness playing out. That's what this world is. It's all that nothingness that's held in the mind playing out. And it plays out, it's not personal. It plays out through these different microcosms. So it's like, for this experience right now, I'm giving myself a certain set of coding to perceive through. So it's like, okay, there's all these different things. At the same time, you know, my friends will attest, I'm on do not disturb a lot on my phone and other things. And that's because I'm chilling out. I'm just straight chilling out. I'm blocking. That's another thing. Right? Maybe I'm blocking. I usually like to have like an hour to 2 hours of that every day as well. But it doesn't have to, you know, coming from at least my point of view, I don't feel like it has to be every day. Like the things have to occur every day. It's not like, oh, I missed a day of that or something like that. Brushing teeth. Yeah, I like to do that every day. You like to do that twice a day. Like to keep those fuckers. It seems like that works. And that's just it too. It's like, if it seems like it works, fine, it works to you. That's what that means. Your mind is really powerful to make these illusions. You know, just don't deny that it's your mind. You know, denial is meant to be used for something really helpful, denying that it's not your mind. These ideas that tell you that you've got this magic potion, you got this toothpaste, you got a toothbrush, right? You seem to be cleaning some teeth with it. There's no teeth there. You're doing magic in a dream. You know, keep that in your awareness. That's all. Nothing needs to change. You don't have to cut down on the magic. That's how it goes. It's like you have to perform these magic tricks. Otherwise, you're going to feel depressed. Like you have to. You're made to. Even eating is like that. There's no body. How are you getting nourished off your food? But it seems like it. You know where that's really helpful, where it comes in really helpful, when you don't seem to have a food. Right? Maybe you feel like you're hungry. You get the sense that you're hungry and you don't seem to have access to food in that moment, or whatever the case may be. You can start suffering hardcore like that. But by being aware that you're only projecting that right now, everything's fine. Forget about that stupid shit people have told you. There's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to get worried. There's no reason to worry about your body. You know, when you worry about your body, it's like you're trying to let worry take care of your body. It doesn't do a good job. your body's naturally taken care of by the source within you. So when you get a perception that it's not taken care of, and I know people get this perception in a lot of different ways. I've heard of people feeling like they don't have access to the right medication. Maybe they feel like they don't have access to the right supplements even. If only I had access. Don't do that to yourself. If only I had access to the right things, I would have this. It's not true. It's not a thought that will serve you. Right? Because you're only getting a perception of a life, and you're only perceiving that life in a manner that's maximally beneficial to you right now. So you're only perceiving it. You're perceiving that you even need the thing. Let's just do a hypothetical. Let's say all the stores are closed and I can't get any more of my tooth powder that I love to use because I feel like it helps me have strong teeth, right? I feel like it. I'm projecting the whole thing, even the feeling that it does it. I'm projecting the whole thing. So if for some reason I can't get my hands on anything to clean my teeth with, right? Number one for me is to see that I don't need the thing I don't have. The thing I don't seem to have is a thing I don't need, right? So that's first and foremost. I know that whatever magic I need to do to take care of my teeth will come to me. I don't even have to go looking for it. I know it'll come to me. That's how. That's how. Now you can put that for anything. And at one point my hair was falling out. It seemed like a lot. Never saw that much hair come out before. It just like kept on falling out. It kept on coming out in the shower. I was like, man, is half of my hair falling out? I actually felt thinner to hold in my hand. And just like using it over and over again to let myself be released from an idea that I even need more hair than I got, or that I need different hair that I got, or that I need better hair that I got. And the solutions, just relaxing and letting them come. That is the key, right? And of course, I've capitulated back and forth and like go, okay, I gotta find the solution on things, and that too is just for the learning process. So it's okay with me. I'm just knowing that that's not necessary, right? I'm just knowing it's not necessary. I'm just making it necessary because there's not a complete trust that the solution is coming. That's okay. No one's expecting me to be perfect except the ego. And that's only a fake expectation, right? Because the ego does not really want me to be perfect. Otherwise, my body can't be used for attack. My body can't be used as that receptacle. Cora says her Miracle Botanicals tooth oil keeps me clean. Oh, yay. You're using Sweet Smile then. That's a great one. I love that. Yeah, I use that every day too. I just put some along my gum lines. So if anyone's interested in that, miraclebotanicals.com, Sweet Smile. I also like hydroxyapatite, which is a particular mineral that is in some tooth powders. I got some of that from a place called, I think it's Primal Life Organics. And there's some other place like that have hydroxyapatite stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Cora. Oh yeah, Cora, you're here. That reminds me. You sent me some. Let me see. Did I address that yet? I don't know. Sometimes I do that. Oh, there you are. Okay. So Cora was writing me something. She was had some fun stuff going on here. You guys are gonna like it. Okay. So she's talking about never fully liking anyone. One of those seemingly private thoughts. Remember, that none of our thoughts are actually private. They seem private, okay? The ego tries to make it out to be private. So you're thinking, what an annoying fucking person, for instance. Or, whatever. That person's selfish. That person's a narcissist. That is totally not private, okay? Everyone can sense that. It's not shared because it can't be shared, but in an illusion, in an illusory sense, everyone can sense it. I've never fully liked anyone ever. Yay! That is great. Now you know. Now you know. You've never fully liked anyone ever. Great. That's actually because you don't like yourself, or let's say you told yourself that you're not likable and you've believed it. Okay. So that's trying to get projected. It's trying to be projected onto everyone else. Yep. You don't fully, if you go deep into meditation on this, you will see that the ego mind does not like anyone, and it does not like you, but you are the most important thing in that ego mind. You as a separate self are the most important thing. And it's trying to protect you all the time. It's what makes me feel separate from them, that there's always a bit of hate there. There's just always something I don't like about someone. This is so common, you guys. You guys notice that too. I got 3 people in studio here. They fucking know. Okay, it's just common. It's like there's always something about the fucker, right? Oh, I really like this person so much. Just hang out with them for a little while. You'll find something else. Then that, when you're aware that that's not you, that's the ego, then it's really nothing. It's all sharing. It's just really nothing, because you wouldn't keep it. Would I keep it? No. It's like such a red flag when that occurs to me. It's like, would I keep that? Fuck no. Right? I mean, the things that I perceive about people, if I perceive them being stubborn, crafty, egoic, anything like that, it's just cute to me. It's my mind playing things out, right? It's my mind giving me my interpretation. So I just think it's cute. Same thing with myself. I think I'm cute too. And I'm just like, very ignorant at times. That's what I mean when I say I'm a fucking idiot, but not in the way that you guys are thinking, like accusing someone of something. It's like, let that what's perceived as that aspect that's a fucking idiot, right? It's basically like an ego weakness, right? Which is really the strength of your spirit. It's like, if you're willing to just see that that's like, it's ignorance, it's meaningless, it means nothing, it has no effect. It's like, in Christianity, I don't know if it's actually Christianity, but I used to hear this when I was a kid and we were Christian missionaries. They'd say, be a fool for Jesus. Don't be afraid of being a fool. That's the thing. It's like this major block to seeing more, opening up spiritually, is trying to make a spiritual facade. It's like, just be willing to be natural and free. And the self that you made with the ego is a fool. Let it be. That's not a call for condemnation. See, it's like it turns that ego idea upside down. It's like, it's an idiot, so therefore it should be condemned. It's like, no, it's an idiot, so therefore it's cute. Therefore it's adorable. There's just always something I don't like about someone. Yeah. Perhaps I'm just a nutter. Yeah, well, okay, that's everyone. Okay, so then I talked to her a little bit. I said, you can see it. You need to recognize the self-hatred you're trying to project and deny any meaning to it. You're already doing the first part and you're learning to do the second part. So then she came back with some doubt, like, am I really learning that? Right? She came back with some doubt, and that is so common too, especially, she just saw something right there about how she's running this hateful thing onto everyone like that. That'll get the ego projecting doubt like crazy. Am I really getting it, or I'm really just like this horrible person that hates everyone? Right? No, you're burning it out by seeing it come across kind of like on a ticker tape like that. Oh, there it is again. And don't be saying my hatred. It's not like that. It's not my hatred. It's just self-hatred, but it's not personal. That's why it's just so fucking meaningless. It reminds me of Bob Shine talking last Friday about how everyone is just a hurt kid, and you can tell when he's saying it how he's feeling that. It's like no, everyone is not a hurt kid. Everyone, that's right now you're projecting it, and it's not in the words. It's in it. You could sense it in the feeling, in the tone. It's in the tone. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to say we're all hurt kids in a way where it's not like condemning us to keep being hurt kids, right? Where you're feeling hurt about it and believing it, and now there's something that we have to do about it. Right now there's something we have to do about it because we're all hurt kids. It's like, no, we have not done anything to ourselves. We have not changed ourselves. The hurt kid is projected right now in the moment. That's projected with the ego. That could be withdrawn in an instant. That just takes willingness to do that. Where's Zoom? I got all these tabs open. Going like a mobo all over the place. Oh, I'm over here too. Oh, okay. My miracle. Okay. Brooke said, I genuinely like most people. Okay, Brooke, you haven't seen it yet. That's what that means. I know. A lot of people would go, Hope, you're fucking crazy. I'm sure I genuinely like most people. No, you don't. Because here's the thing. We're one. So that's the way it is. Yeah, you don't like or dislike anyone. All right. Because we're one. All right. This kind of it kind of builds up over time, and then people start to see it. It's like it comes to light. It starts to come to light. But it's like, I like most people is a facade over a surface of something. I like most people. All right. Because that's not the way the ego works. The ego, and the thing is, these interactions that keep on apparently happening between persons, that's leading you to see what it is. It's leading you to see what it is. So it's like whenever there's triggered or anything like that, it's the same thing. It's the same unliking, not liking ourselves. So the reason I say, and I know you're a very loving person. You're definitely a very loving, genuine, sweet, amazing individual. You're fucking awesome. All right. I know that about you. There is hidden secret beliefs in the mind. Okay. So they pop out and reveal themselves in certain instances, even where you feel a sense of concern. Okay. They come up like that, and there's this underlying play, like psychics can even see it. There's underlying play. It goes, there'll be thoughts that just go, like that. So the one that you are doesn't like at all. It doesn't like or dislike, let's say. It doesn't like or dislike, but that you like people, that you think you like people, means the opposite is also true. That's how it is. That's how it is in the ego's world, even though none of that is true at all. See? So it's like, to make like, I like people, I like most people true, makes the opposite to be true. And here's the thing about the ego's game, Brooke, is that it comes around to its opposite in time. That's what it does. Liking people leads to its opposite in time. That's what it does. So constantly, where it comes to the separate sense of self, which is the body self being projected, right? And interacting with the so-called others, the purpose of that those interactions is to work that out. It's to work out this liking, not liking thing, to where it's just all like pure, to where it's just all whether you seem like you like them or they seem annoying or whatever like that, you're being released from these things and you're coming to purity. So here's what I see. When there's a sense of liking a person, it's as if they are good for the image that you're upholding. A sense of not liking a person, they're not so good for that image that you're upholding. So those, and you know, for a lot of people, it's like this. It's like they seem to like everyone for a while, and it could go on for a while. They seem to like everyone for a while, and then things start to build up, right, over time. So at some point, there's just willingness to see what it is. What's that talking under the surface? Because there's a voice under the surface that we hide, that we totally were really good at covering it up. And look, we know that it's there if we can get the perception of people outside of ourselves. I've heard it put one way: if you want to know if you have work to do in this regard, take a mirror and put it under your nose and see if you can make a fog when you breathe. That's how you know you have more work to do in this regard. You have more to see through, more relaxing to do, okay? When will it come? I don't know. But welcome it. Welcome it when it does. Oh, wow, it seems like I really don't like that person. I remember I used to get that with little kids when I was a kid. I was like 12 years old and stuff. I'd be like, huh, what is that? So I first started feeling a sense of annoyance, like being annoyed by a little kid. I'd be like, what in the world? What is that that's drawing that up, you know? The ego helps us paint a picture of ourselves as good, as innocent, while also helping us bury these beliefs that we're not anywhere near that and are never going to be that. So then they get projected outwards. See? So it's like, if we're perceiving a body in the field, we are getting things that need to be healed. Those things come in forms like hatred. Now, if you've seen that, wow, I really have hatred for everyone. And, you know, it's not really true, but it seems I have a hatred for everyone. I see this because all these aspects are here. The ego love is The opposite is hatred. No one here knows what love is. No one that seems to be here knows what love is. This is something that we're learning. We never left it, but we taught ourselves something that's not love. So everyone who seems to be here is subject to this thought. It's the thought of separation. It's what props up bodies. And the ego is really good at covering over top of it and making it seem like they're like, oh, I never, gosh, some people tell me, oh no, I definitely don't have a suicidal thought. I'm like, what?
There are people who don't even have thoughts, right?
There are people who don't even have thoughts. Apparently, I've gotten that one too, right? It's like, really, it actually doesn't take that much introspection in the scheme of introspection you can do to see that it is built on a freaking murderous, suicidal, hateful thought. The whole thing is built on that. So the ego is really good at covering these things up. Make it seem like, you're not having any of those. For a while, it can go on like that. Not having any of those things.
Separation itself has to root from murder, right?
What was that?
Separation, the thought of separation.
Yeah.
Have to root from murder.
Right.
Imagine murdering.
Imagine murder, right? The sense of, so he's saying this, the sense of separation comes from the thought of murder. So a murderous thought. And you know what? It's not anything to be scared of to see it. It's not anything to be afraid of, but the ego does have it set up as if you should be afraid of this murderous thought, as if you should be afraid of this hateful thought. No, it's not anything to be afraid of. It's fucking awesome. You can see it now.
Isn't real, then what's there to be afraid of?
Well, yeah, it's not. Yeah, there's nothing there. So that's the thing. We're afraid of our own unloving thoughts, and that's why we cover them up. But look at, they're not our own like that. Just look at it like that. They're not really our own. We need to see them. And the sooner we see them, the clearer things become, and the more awake we are to the truth. That means the more free we feel, the better we feel, right? You don't have all these burdens, all this heaviness on yourself. Another thing about that, Brooke, too, you said I genuinely like most people, is it only takes one that you don't like that you can be projecting. And if you just you're seeing that one. So here's how I would practice this is, okay, good, I could see this dislike for at least some people. I could see it there. That's where I'm going to deny any meaning to that thought then, right? So that's like the practice can be employed right there. You don't even have to wait until you can see that, holy shit, that dislike that I have for those few people is actually completely widespread all the way throughout this whole thing. Because there's no way you can hold something for one person in the field and not be projecting that completely for everyone. So that's how that works too. So that's another way to just help with that. You don't even have to see that that's applied everywhere, all the way across the field. You could just start working from those few, since you genuinely like most people, work with those few who you seem to dislike. There's just one of us. So any amount of dislike, that's for the whole field, not, you see what I mean? It's not just for those people. That's what I mean about, there's really no measure on that as to, well, do you like most people? Do you like half the people? Do you like a quarter of the people? No, it's like, if there's any amount of hatred anywhere, it's for all of them. Like that. And it's not even meaningful or real. That's the best part. See, the whole hook is to get it buried so you never see that it's not meaningful. That's what makes it meaningful to you, is the burying of it. So it makes it meaningful. So it's a matter of being willing to see it. Okay, that's not meaningful. It's not personal. It's not meaningful. Whatever kind of flaw that the person seems to have. Okay, let's see. Discuss contempt, coming up very strong. This is back to mine and Cora's conversation. Feel and remember that these feelings, thoughts here have always been here, but now they're somehow felt with an increased intensity. So yes, they've always been there. So even for those of us who aren't seeing it now, they've always been there and they've always been intense. But you're more sensitive to the intensity now. You're seeing more and you're more and you're more sensitive to it because you can handle more. You can handle more healing in this regard. Okay? It seems to reflect a warning. Yeah, that's the ego's interpretation. Do not go here. Yes. Do not go here. You're going to be sorry. I feel like I'm getting closer to the terror. She capitalizes those words. And you guys, I've shared with you about that, the utter terror that underlies the world. Wow, I've had the privilege of touching into that very well, okay? And it's like, it's very shaking to get that kind of experience. And I welcome it for as much as I need to have it to help me see through, to help me see that I don't want to keep on pursuing this world. There's nothing here. As my world and self crumbles, I sense this terror getting closer. Yes, but isn't it also exciting? That's what I notice. There's a terror, but there's also excitement. Now, one thing I heard in yoga when I used to do Kundalini yoga was that fear is just excitement without the breath, right? So I get this sense that there's terror, and then, I know how to let the breath in. I know how to let the breath down to my belly. So then I can really feel that excitement and let that excitement in and let it be expressed, even for approaching this and coming up on this terror. Yeah. It's strange because it's like I'm sensing just how terrifying it really is. So-called life. I've always denied it. I've had to. The terror is so intense. That's what everyone's doing. That's the whole thing. That's what all the busyness, all this, all this stuff, like, and it's really simple. You guys, you hear my stories and you hear how much stuff I have going on all the time, including the wisdom dialogues, right? And, just real simply, I'll be sitting there seemingly working away on my computer, and I'll just not even break stride in the work or anything, but just my awareness will go to, let's say, my lumbar spine for a sec and check in there and see how that thing is feeling. And I might notice that I'm clenching it down there and have a release. That's just like really simple like that. It's like, that's just training your mind, almost like showing or demonstrating to your mind that you're willing to feel what's here. You're willing to feel whatever's here. We're naturally going around with tension, held tension, and unaware of held tension. So, my goal from moment to moment is to be releasing tension. There's so much going on, as far as what I could put my attention on and allow to be released in any moment. There's so much going on. There's no room for this stupidity, stupid thoughts. There's no room for this fear of not being liked, or fear of not liking someone, or trying to change myself. It's just kind of like, man, those things can just play themselves out and work themselves out. There's so much for me to be aware of in the moment, that I don't need to pursue any of these things. And, I just am letting myself off the hook pretty much throughout the day. I mean, I have my moments, it's always to the best of our ability, but pretty much throughout the day, being released from these hooks, being released from these repetitive thoughts. The ego gets a load of that thought that says, I genuinely like most people, and then it'll be like grading you. Oh, well, you don't like them over there. Just like leaving those ego thoughts alone, and then that allows you more space for relaxation, also just downloads, to hear from the spirit. The spirit will show you how you can get unhooked from these things all the time. Okay. She said, so the terror has always felt a bit numb, kind of underneath, numbed with numb skin over the top. I know what you mean. I can sense that there is a terror so scary it would kill me dead if I were to be even remote, if it were to be even remotely glimpsed. Great. See, you're getting to the bottom of this. You're seeing to the bottom of this. That's exactly right. It's like, you don't want to see, the ego story is, you don't want to see how terrible you actually are, because you'll just be dead on the spot. The guilt will be so immense, you'll just be dead on the spot. So it scares you. It keeps you from looking there. It's like, don't look here. I'm just feeling around in the dark, it seems. And in the dark is everything I hate, everything I fear, everything I've made. Yes. And yes, I'm certain that you're learning to deny meaning to these sick thoughts that are not your thoughts. I'm certain that you are learning that. Every time it comes up, you could use it for liking a person too, liking or disliking. Okay, it's the same. It's all about your image, right? Now, let yourself be drawn to whoever you're drawn to. Don't argue with that. Certain people are going to light up for you. If you feel really inspired to hang out with certain people. I have felt inspired to hang out with people before who I knew it was going to go to a scenario where it seemed like they hurt me, and I'm still excited about it. Sometimes you can just tell by the way the energy plays. Like I could be very psychic about, I see where this one's going, right? But I'm still real excited about it. I see the game, but I know that there's something for me in that. And that's how it is with all the things that seem to occur, everyone that we're drawn to. That's good though, Brooke. Thank you so much for bringing that up about the other side of it. Because I know I've got a lot of people listening to Wisdom Dialogues that would be like, wait a minute, I think I like everyone, right? I think I like most people, or I think I like everyone. Well, if you could not have the opposite of that, and it was only liking them, then that would be awesome. But the ego only shows you one side at a time. I seem desperate for comfort. Yeah. Reassurance. Yeah, for sure. And you deserve it. You deserve to be reassured too. It's like these thoughts, now that you're seeing them, yeah, this is like an undoing period for you. And the Holy Spirit is totally in charge of that. The more you can relax, the more you're going to get help in that way. Just notice, and it's funny, make fun of that. that it seems like you hate someone. It's funny.
Yeah, both of them like and dislike seem
Yeah.
to have a sense of excitement in it.
Yes.
It's like it's not a centered emotion. It's somewhere on this side or on that side.
Uh-huh.
But they both kind of don't really mean anything.
Yeah. And they move back and forth to their opposite.
Right.
That's why, like I'll get people like that'll be like, oh gosh, Hope Johnson, you're so great, you're so great, you're so great. It's like I don't get attached to that because I know the opposite is fucking coming. That's how it is. And it could be coming from that exact same person too. Like, oh wow, I really expected you to be way better than that. Yeah. Oh, I really expected, it's like how we operate in the ego's world, but we don't have to take that stuff on, even though the play is occurring. The play is occurring before our eyes. It's actually occurring. It's exciting when you like someone, right? It's exciting when you don't like someone. That's what Chaitan's saying. That both of them have a sense of excitement. There's personality attached to it. It doesn't have anything to do with love. It doesn't have anything to do with true love. And it's like, we can still extend true love, even though we're not knowing what it is while we're dreaming. Because we didn't stop having the ability to extend true love. It's just that in a dream, that's been reduced to a choice. And that's just a choice between whether this illusion is our reality, would we keep it our reality, or do we accept what's really true? So that's always, and that's the same as saying forgiveness. Forgiveness is like a deep surrender, Was that today's lesson for you?
Without forgiveness, I will still be blind.
Without forgiveness, I will still be blind. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cora said she wished she could hear Chaitan. That's why I just let you know what he's saying. He's got a cute little voice and also a pretty good accent going. Okay, and then yeah, I'm getting to it, Cora. I mean, you know how I like to savor the moment. We got more over here. All right. So doubt is always going to come up. Okay. So then I told her that she deserves comfort. I told her that that willingness to deny meaning to doubtful thoughts equals comfort. See that? Willingness to deny meaning to doubtful thoughts. The doubt in this case being, am I really learning here? Because, all I see is this hatred coming up. Am I really learning something? Or am I just now in purgatory watching these patterns play out for the rest of eternity? Right? And yes, of course, you're learning. So her last question, and I told her she deserves that comfort. Basically, again, willingness to deny meaning to doubtful thoughts equals comfort. So when you feel like you need comfort, okay. Okay, so she said, how do I get more aware of deservingness if I don't see or feel it? Notice a thought of hatred toward someone. I mean, I think you can probably just tune in right now and something will pop up for you. Just notice a thought of hatred coming up towards someone. And then notice how that feels in the physical sense. Like, just notice how that feels to hold that thought of hatred against anyone, yourself even. It doesn't matter. God doesn't matter. Just notice what that's like. And then see if you would be willing to be released from it. And if you're not willing to be released from it, notice the thoughts that are projecting as to why. Why am I not willing? What's saying that I don't deserve this release right now? See? You're getting a sense of what you don't want. So that's awesome. Because you can see that you wouldn't keep it. So now once you can see that you wouldn't keep it, you can choose to be released from it. And you learn how deserving you are as you get some release. You learn how loved you are and adored you are and appreciated you are as you would be willing to be released. So it's like you have to have some faith, and that's, you have the ability for that. You have to have some faith that there's some value to you even looking toward release. You know, from the ego's point of view, you just don't deserve it. So you've got to see that there's value in allowing this release. That means you're not hanging on to the thought that tells you that something is wrong with you because you're hating. See? You notice a sense of hatred. You notice you wouldn't keep it. You notice a thought that says you shouldn't be like that. Or this trying to get out of it, trying to get out of the hatred. Don't get out of the hatred. Notice what it feels like. Get a really good sense of that feeling effect. That's a feeling effect of thinking. It's projected from thinking. It's the aftermath of thinking. That's the damage it leaves in its wake. Collapsing tightness in the core. Okay, I feel into that. Yes. So that tightness, that's the resistance right there. And you know, this is something that has worked for me, and it's worked for a lot of people. You know, once they can sense this body sense, and they sense this thing and what it's like when it's upset, when it's holding. See, there's a holding that goes on there. It's like, would you be released from it? You could be released from it now. So it's not like you're trying to push the hatred away or make it better or turn it into liking them or ego loving them even, right? It's like you spontaneously get this beautiful sense of gratitude toward them for allowing you this healing opportunity. See? So I'm drawn to people for healing opportunities. I'm drawn to them like that, right? It's really helpful. That's the only thing that I would use anyone's bodies for. It doesn't matter if it's in business or anything like that. That's the only thing I would use anyone's bodies for, because I know that if I seem to like them a lot, I'm also going to get triggers. No, if I hang out with them a bunch, right? If I seem to like them a lot and they're distant, that's something sometimes people say, okay, you got a guru, keep them at a distance. Because if you get too close to them, your patterns are going to be projecting and they're going to be made into a fucking whatever, because that's how your mind works. That's how it goes. It's like, you know, it's always becoming its opposite. Give it long enough. Give it enough time. You'll see. And then when it does come up, it doesn't even have to be a thing. The other person doesn't even have to know anything occurred. It just arises and you could take care of it right away. From all appearances, this is a very harmonious relationship, and it is because people are taking care of these patterns as they're arising. We don't have to get into any fights. We don't have to have any passive aggressive behavior or anything. We just know what is our responsibility to take care of, and we take care of that within our own mind. It's like not even a thing. Yes.
Many actors share this, that when they have gone through a long career of acting,
Okay.
if they have to cry at some moment in their real life, they can't, within themselves, they can't differentiate whether I'm acting.
Right.
So the suggestion there is that people who are not actors like ourselves,
Yeah.
they're anyways acting all the time.
Yes. We're always acting.
It's just that we are unaware that we are acting.
Yes.
So when you're in fear, we're acting that feeling.
Yes.
When you're happy, we're
Acting out
feeling.
that feeling. Yes.
So what can be done maybe is like for 5 to 10 minutes every day, should practice acting.
Practice acting.
How does it feel to be in fear? How
Yeah.
does it feel to be non-deserving,
Yeah.
unworthy, or on the other spectrum of the side? How does it feel to be like liking someone, to be passionate, to be whatever? When that feeling arises during the day, we would know that I'm still acting.
You're still acting. Yep.
Yeah. That will bring some awareness to that those acting moments. Then.
Yes. All right. So for those of you who didn't hear what or understand what Chetan said, he was talking about how actors who have to cry on stage, when they find themselves crying in their own life, it comes back to them. Wait a minute. Is this real or am I acting? Right. And, for us who's not actors, we can look at it like this. It's all acting. So when we feel doubtful, fearful, unworthy, undeserving, for instance, you're acting undeserving. So you might want to take a few minutes and play that out a little bit. You might want to just like get on the floor and throw a fit, maybe. That's the way I see it. You're throwing a fit because you hate that you're undeserving, but you get the sense that you're undeserving, and throw a fit and let all the thoughts come out that justify your undeservingness and act it out. You can act it out with your whole body, right? I like to take it all the way. Like if I get afraid, like there's a bug and then all of a sudden I feel afraid. I don't always get afraid with bugs. Sometimes they'll be on me and I don't even mind. But then other times I'll just like feel like acting. Oh my God. A real bug. Or I'm walking, like I was this weekend, I'm walking along in the dark at night, and my one of my toenails catches my suitcase, and it kind of like gets ripped off, and it's like, oh damn, fuck, that kind of thing. And I know I'm acting in it. It's funny. It's good. It's like, and then Tony goes out, he takes a pee, he comes back, he's like, how's it going? I'm like, everything's fine.
Yeah, when you're aware, there is joy in that acting.
Right. There's joy in the acting. Yes. There's joy in all of the acting. So you could look at it like this too, Cora. You're acting like you don't deserve it. You're acting like you need comfort. And you're acting like you need comfort. Comfort's not really something that you need because you already have it. Right? So you are acting in that, and you deserve it. So, you can just let yourself receive it. You're actually holding it apart from yourself. That's why you don't need it really. But yeah, it's all acting. I love it. Thank you. Let me know if you have any more questions. Huh. I have, okay. There's more comments. Oh, that was Amy in the beginning. Okay. Oh, we're doing good. We're nice and caught up. Let's check Leah. Leah's doing good. Leah's still here. All right. Yay.
In wisdom dialogues, it can be said to people that we are putting on an act and people would still be okay with it.
They're still okay with it. Yeah.
It's very awesome.
People know what's up on Wisdom Dialogues. Wisdom Dialogues people got heart, man. I love it. I love you guys. Thank you, Cora, because I like drama. Yeah, you do. So that's fun. Play it out. Just play that out. If you like people too, like you got the opposite going on where it seems like you like people, freaking play that out too. Play that drama out. It is a drama. It's a total show. So funny. I love you, Cora, you sweetie. Thank you so much. I love my wisdom dialogues, peeps. You guys are definitely cutting edge kind of peeps. Yeah. Very rare. And it's amazing. It's amazing that we find each other. I mean, of course, that's how it's going to be. It's like, I feel like I just got to a point where I was ready to have this many people in my life. Like, there's quite a few people who are really, really open and also getting so many healings and receiving so much joy in their life. That's such a pleasure. I can't even tell you how much it's worth it for any of you guys who are called toward, teaching in any kind of way. There's definitely a lot of pleasure, joy, upliftment, connection in it. And what makes it hard in the beginning is just that sense of unworthiness, and also buying into it that you're not there yet. You're needed right where you are. You're needed to relate with those who find you relatable, right? And everyone's got different seeming aspects that make them relatable to a certain group of people, a certain variety of people, and that's what's helpful. Sure, not everyone's going to like you. That's fine. That's also part of the dream. And the only reason why it seems like they don't like you is because that's not maximally beneficial for you to be interacting with them. So it's like, if you're wasting your energy, that's why Jesus calls it pearls before swine. If you're wasting your energy like that on someone that's not meant for you, then that becomes your lesson. It's maximally beneficial for that reason. You see what I mean? It always becomes, no matter what it is, because of where you are and because of what you need to learn, maximally beneficial. See? Birdie said, I love cutting the edges with you, Hope. Oh, thank you, Birdie. It's so nice. How can you tell if someone is meant for you? Well, that's really in the moment, Brooke, because for me, like what I've seen is I've been with my same husband for 30 years, going on 30 years. Okay. And I did not know that it was going to be anything similar to that. I had no idea. All I know, and this is the same for friends too. It doesn't matter. All I know is that in the moment when I'm with them, it feels right. It just feels right in the moment. And it could be that right is even knowing that it's a setup. I'm even knowing that I'm getting set up right now. Like I could see them. I could like see the motive of a person. And relatively speaking, relatively speaking, it would be a really bad motive, right? But I'm like, I'm in, I'm down for it. Like, I'm curious, I'm excited. I want to see how this is going to go. So these people also meant for me, right? If they're not interested in you, or they seem to not like you, that's a really clear sign they're not meant for you. Like when I was when I was a younger girl and I was dating, I was definitely way younger when I was dating. I met this dude I'm with when I'm 21 years old. Man, but I already was very experienced by then. Jacob's laughing, he knows some stories. So, I would be dating, I'd be dating a guy, and they'd look at me and go, you can, like I said earlier, go for losing 5 pounds. That was like a thing in Orange County. I was just like, if man, you would just be perfect. We just lost 5 pounds. Right. That was like the story I kept on running into. Right. Well, I only need someone to say that to me one time, and then they don't see this fucking thing again, especially in Orange County. It's not like Puna. I don't see you again if you don't call them back. Right. So it's that's a big part of it too, is just being willing to allow the ones that aren't meant for you to just go. That's not meant for me. And that comes down to worthiness too. It's like, man, if I'm not fucking good enough for you, I'm not interested in hanging out with you. If the way I am is narcissistic to you and it's something you want to change, I'm not hanging out with you, because there's plenty of people who think I'm fucking awesome. Why wouldn't I just hang out with them? And that's the same for you, even if you don't know it. I know there's a couple of, at least one of you on here, who thinks that's not the same for them, that there's not a shitload of people that love them and want to hang out with them. You're wrong about that. It's just that you're always focusing on the ones that are not, like I'm saying, are not meant for you in a way, because also this scenario that you're getting with them, that's totally meant for you because it's maximally beneficial for you. So because you got to learn something through it, right? It's like, you don't need to put your attention onto the people that clearly don't think you're good enough. And you know what, that could even change in the moment. Like, there's an energy play going on in the moment. I know from being like with a husband, there's certain times where his energy is more open to me, and there's certain times where he's in his own thing, doing its own thing. It's not really interesting to him to have me around in that moment. Do I take offense to that? No, I go find something else to do. Right. You should like me and want me all the time. Yeah. Just look at it like right now, right in the moment, what feels good. See, the way the ego does it, and the ego's always talking. Okay. The ego's always talking to you. It's not going to stop until this body is laid down. Okay. It's not, and then it's only a temporary stop. Okay. The ego is following you. All right. So that's why I talk about this a lot, because that's what's going on. That's like, that's what's making all of these illusions. It's a stalker. Yes. It's the ultimate stalker. Yes. So the ego mind is going to make reasons why you should and should not hang out with different people. And it's fucking wrong. It's totally wrong. It looks at people as whether they're a benefit to you or a threat. All right. It doesn't pay any attention to what kind of feeling signals you're giving yourself. These are signals, they're symbols. So it's like, look for a sense of relaxation. Look for a sense of comfort, care. These are the things that you deserve. That's what I started to see more and more in my man, Tony. When it first started out, he seemed like he was a little bit rough. Like I was kind of like, I don't want a guy like that, you know? But then he just kept on making these different shifts. Like I would just go, yeah, I can't really do that. And then he's like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. Oh, okay, cool. And then he just make these shifts. And I just like kept on feeling more and more comfortable with them. So that just really made it obvious to me. And then, you know, it's like, shoot, 10 years later, I wake up and I'm like, holy shit, I'm still chilling with this guy. And then somehow it gets to 30. It's like, look over, now he's got a gray beard and I'm still chilling with him. And you know, people come and go, and I've been allowing him to come and go too. Like, and what I mean is in a mental sense. In a mental sense, of course, I mean, that spills over to the physical sense. I'm never trying to tie him down or anything like that. But just, you know, in allowing myself to be fully expressed, even though I'm partnered up with someone, a lot of fear comes up about will the relationship withstand that? And it's like, that's not up to me. It's up to me to just like let the Holy Spirit express through me, through forgiveness, through seeing that all this is meaningless, even every relationship that I seem to have, seeing that all of it's meaningless. And that's what allows us to be more intimate and go deeper with each other, because we don't have this thing about possessing each other, right? I see this possessiveness even in friendships. It's so common. It's just like, and it's done in such a subtle way. A lot of people don't even know they're doing it, and they get frustrated because they're like, why won't people hang out with me? Why don't people like me? Why this, why that? But there's still like this deafness, this unwillingness to hear. Like, hey, this is not attractive to you know, like act like you love a person, but then you want them to change, right? Or you act like you love a person, but you try to make them look at themselves in a negative light. Like, I, for one, don't go for that. That just shows me that's not worthy of my attention. I'll put my attention over here. You know, it's like if you're trying to convince people that they're less than perfection, what do you expect is going to happen? I mean, people are unaware just being like that with people. I get that from time to time. I'll have friends that want to interact with me more, but then I'll be like, no, because I don't go for that. You know, what you're expressing is a dislike, basically self-hatred. So I just don't participate in that. There's plenty of people who participate. They'll participate in that with you in that, right? They want to be told that they're less than. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate your questions. And you too, Cora. Thank you so much. I was really, I'm sure, helpful for a lot of people who are coming to recognize that self-hatred being projected all over the place. So common, even with, you know, people who have done A Course in Miracles for like decades. I've seen just like it'll come out possibly for a particular person, like a political figure. It'll just come out, like this murderous thought will come out, and it'll seem like it's isolated to that person who deserves it, that's got orange hair. Apparently. It seems like, you know, it's isolated to that person who seems to deserve it, to the person, and it's not. It's equally bestowed on everyone.
Yeah, we're seeing FJB now, so
FJB, oh yeah, FJB, right?
so it's shifted from
Yeah.
orange hair back to someone else now.
Oh yeah. It didn't shift. It's been both all the time.
Right.
It's been back and forth the whole time. It's like half of the people are FJB, half of the people are FDT.
Oh, Now I get
But that is really, that doesn't spare even your children, right? Even your children aren't spared from that hatred. No one is spared from it. That's the thing. So, but look at, here's how you counteract all effects from it, is just to see the thought itself as meaningless. It's so simple like that. Just to see that hateful thought as meaningless. So fun.
that all boils down to FML.
FML, what is it?
Fuck my life.
Fuck my life.
We're gonna go to that
You might as well.
smart stuff.
Yeah, if it starts with an F for anyone, right? An F anywhere. Yeah, it's like you got to be able to take these things, and we will. And it's like this is inevitable too. That everyone is learning what they need to learn, and just that, like, if you're within earshot of this right now, you're way far beyond having millions more years left, let's say, having millions more lifetimes left. That's the way the trajectory of the mind is, just project millions of lifetimes out in the future. But when you're perceiving what is making those lifetimes, what's making those perceptions, and you're denying meaning to it, you're shortening time, you're collapsing time. So that certain moment when you wake up from this dreaming is brought closer. Isn't that so fun? Yay, we all love it. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I will be back again for online next week. And in the meantime, I have 2 wisdom dialogues this week. One is on Wednesday at Seaview, at Tomas's house. Many of you know him. He's right there in Mapuana. And then the second one, or the next one, is Friday, and that's at Cinderland. Both of them are 3 to 5 p.m. What? Oh.
Yeah, this Friday.
This Friday. Oh, it's a good thing you guys remember that
Oh,
shit.
there is no.
There's no wisdom dialogues Friday. I'm taking
Oh.
Friday off. That's right, because I'm going to be doing a skit and a play. In a play, I'm going to be playing the ego for my friend on the stage in Waimea.
Yay.
Yeah,
Let's all go over and watch.
you guys can. I will give you fair warning. There's not going to be a lot of show because her whole thing is 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I'm in there as part of that 5 minutes. So if you're looking for a lot of Hope Johnson on stage, that's not what you're getting,
Okay.
but we can always hang out afterwards.
You're playing the stalker.
Yeah, I'm going to play the stalker. I'm going to be the stalker. Oh, Tina, I love you. Thank you. It's so much fun to see you on here. Yay. That's my sister-in-law, man. I've been hanging out with her for a long time too. She's so fun. It's amazing. She'll be back here soon to be hanging out with me. I know it. Yay. Okay, I'm just reading these last comments. That would be a nice evolution. Yay. Thank you, everyone. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you joining. And until next time, mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.